Welcome into the Benniebarre Pilates studio. Join me today for a portion of my latest Springboard Rollback bar class, setting those long leg springs to a level 8.
It's time to lay down on the back and put your legs over the bar. Lying down onto the back, we want to be roughly a straight arms distance. Well, I'm not hyperextending straight. I got like a little gentle bend in my elbow, and that's right. Reach up, grab that rollback bar. Now let's hold our arms to the center. We're going to come on here in a creative way, and we want the knees over top of the bar. You can get here any way that you need to, right? And if this is too high, too much resistance to pull down and get those knees on, you can also move down to 7, maybe even 6 here. But otherwise, we're staying at 8 because I promised you no changes today. Okay, so creative way to get on, which we're going to use this as an exercise at the end too. Take the legs up in a tabletop, reach them out 45 degrees, open, circle around, and land with the knees on the bar. We'll get to practice making that really graceful there. Take the hands out, press into that springboard so that your body's not sliding in. We want an active press out of the arms. Now, taking the legs, we want the knees to be in tabletop position. Knees are over top of the hips. Ankles are straight across from the knees. So we don't want to be bent down like this or reaching up like this. We've got to hold the bar in a certain way. We're going to tap those toes down to the mat and then lift up. You may recognize this. We've definitely done this movement in class before. So we are concentrating on keeping that neutral spine and being stable and steady through the torso while we press down and lift back up. And we're stopping just at this point where the knees are over top of the hips. It might be really helpful to put a camera on yourself or a mirror nearby so you can see where you're at if you can't quite feel where you're at. You'll notice that sometimes I check in with myself at the mirror. I know what things feel like, but I'll still physically check in where I'm at. Good. Holding right here. Now, anytime that you need to, you can just kind of like slide your legs a little forward if you feel that rollback bar pressing into the knees, and you kind of have to give yourself some relief in between, and then come back into position right here. Now, we are going to actively imprint, press the low back into the mat while we pull the knees in and then reach out. So we're like grabbing that rollback bar and pulling it in towards the chest. So we're not quite rolling the hips up, but it's just before they roll off the mat, right? So inhale, release. Really use that exhale to pull in and reach out. And we're just coming back to knees over top of the hips and tabletop. Good. Hands to the rollback bar. You can just roll down your calf a little bit. Give yourself a little break while we go into the next one. We're going to take those first 2 exercises and blend them together. So it's going to be a flow from toes tap down to knees pull in, right? We're going to range through that. We're going to do that without rocking back and forth or flaring the rib cage. Remember, we're going to keep this torso nice and steady. Starting out in tabletop, we're going to tap the toes down, pull up, and pull the knees in. And then roll the whole way down, pull up, and pull the knees in. Nice big range. Feel the muscles that are working in your back, in your core. Two more here. And 2. Tap down. Let those knees float back up. Give yourself a little break, roll down. You can use this roll back bar to just give this nice natural rolling here with the dowel. Feels so good. Feel free to give yourself a massage while you're hanging out here today. Okay. So next we're going to go into something more challenging. We're going to peel those hips up. It's like the beginning of a rollover, but bent knees up towards the springboard. So we'll inhale to prepare, exhale, roll up, lift, 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 and then roll back down. That probably sounds really weird with me talking into my mic with that going that way. So if you're not there today, what we're going to focus on is trying to clear the bum off the mat, right? Little, and rather than a thrust of like, ooh, like this, right? We're going to think about like rolling it up and rolling back down. So you feel that rolling motion in your low back. And we're going to try to go a little bit higher and roll where you're at, like little roll up and little roll down, right? And eventually we want to be to a point where we can roll over knees like over top of the elbows and then roll through the spine back down. So tons of core work to control as you roll through that spine. Oh, I almost lost my rollback bar. And down. Give yourself, make sure that you're not loosening up too much on your knees and like roll forward. Some of my pants are a little bit more slippery. And I have to think about bending my legs around. Now, if you did lose that rollback bar, it's not going to hit you. It's going to fly up there. But whoo, one more. Nevertheless, we want to be as stable as possible. Okay, right here, we'll give ourselves a little roll out. Now, we're going to place the feet on the floor, roll back bars just underneath the knees, hands to the springboard, and we're going to go into a little bridge. So we want to control where we're coming up so that the roll back bar doesn't slide up our legs. So we're really just going to hold level right here. You know, the hips are about level with the knees, and then we'll roll back down. This is all about articulation through the low spine. So we press that low back in, peel up, and then melt back down, okay? Should feel this like really heavily in the hamstrings underneath there. I can feel myself slide forward, so I'm gonna put my hands back in place to hold me here. And down. So we're not just like, okay, I don't know what I'm feeling here, thrusting up and down. We're peeling up, hold at the top, and then melting down. Let those glutes turn on. Different feeling holding that rollback bar here. And it's also keeping us honest, keeping the knees parallel and keeping them in place so they're not flaring out because there's springs there. Let's take two more. And one. Good. Let the knees float up. Now, we're going to bring the hands in between the knees here in the rollback bar. You may find like there's not enough space depending on, you know, the size of your rollback bar, the size of your legs. So you might do hand over hand. Get your hands onto that rollback bar. We're going to lift the legs up, circle out, around, and out, come to about 45 degrees, and then circle up, lift the hips to bring the knees back over the rollback bar. Okay, so yours might not look like a straight leg like that. Maybe it'll look like a little bit bent, and maybe you come into tabletop and you're like, oh, that feels so much better for my hips and back. Then that's where you're working today, right? And over time, we think about, maybe I'll lengthen the legs a little bit more. Maybe I'll try to make them a little bit straighter as I come on. But overall, we're just taking those hips out around. The core is working, the legs working, everything's working. And you can feel like a little acrobat. That's what this makes me think of. And you can take as long a rest as you want right here to kind of like hang out for a minute before you come off again. and just hold right here. We're going to just grab to the outside of the rollback bar, pull the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a little rock from side to side, rolling like an egg back and forth. Whew, and then it's time to take those legs off the rollback bar and come off however you would like. Lengthen the legs out. Release that rollback bar up. Lie down here for a minute. Feel the length through your body. Feel those core muscles that have been working.
I hope you've enjoyed this work with our knees over top of the rollback bar, and I hope it's made your core muscles feel very strong. If you want to check out the rest of this class or all of my rollback bar featured springboard classes, you can come join me in my online studio on Patreon. All the information is in my write-up below. In fact, right now, you can sign up for a week for free. And you can find so much more Springboard Pilates content right here on my YouTube channel. So make sure that you are subscribed so you can catch all of my videos. Also, if you hit that thumbs up button, it lets me know that you want to see more Springboard videos just like this.